Hello everyone, today in this video I am going to deal with the 7th chapter of Moments of Class 9th. The title of the story is Packing, written by Jerome K. Jerome. This chapter is an extract of Three Men in a Boat, written by Jerome K. Jerome. This extract particularly deals about a scene from the novel Three Men in a Boat, where the author along with his other two friends Harris and George are preparing for their trip, and here packing refers to the preparation which we do before our tour or our traveling. So these three friends, Jerome, Harris and George, they are packing their bags as they have to go for a trip the next day. So that scene, the scene of packing, has been described through this extract. Now let's move to the story. Let's see how they did it. I said I would pack. I rather pride myself on my packing. Packing is one of those many things that I feel I know more about than any other person living. It surprises me myself sometimes how many such things are there. I impressed the fact upon George and Harris and told them that they had better leave the whole matter entirely to me. They fell into the suggestion with a readiness that had something uncanny about it. George spread himself over the easy chair and Harris cocked his legs on the table. So here the story, this part starts with I. I here refers to Jerome K. Jerome, it refers to the author. Now here the author says that he takes pride in himself. It means he says that he is expert at packing, he is very skilled at packing, and he feels that no other person, no other people can pack as well as he can do. He says that he is expert at many other things, but out of all those things he says that he feels that he is expert, he is best at packing. And therefore what he said to George and Harris that they should leave packing upon him, that he will pack all the things himself. And as soon as he said so to Harris and George, who were packing for the time. So as soon as the author as soon as he suggested them, they left the packing which they were doing for the time being, and George, he sat on the easy chair. Here you can see in the image, in the picture which is given on the top, and Harris, he cocked his legs on the table. It means here you can see this is how he is sitting, the manner in which he is sitting, he has crossed his legs, that is known as cocked his legs on the table. And the author, he says that the way they accepted his proposal, his offer, that was something strange to him. It seems strange to him. Why it seems strange to him? Because as soon as he offered his help, his assistance to George and Harris, without any denial or without saying anything, they just left it and they asked him to pack it. They would have definitely said that we will help you, we will assist you, but they did not say anything, just they left it, and they left all the packing for author only. Here the word uncanny has been used, and it means strange and weird. So the way they left all the things for author, that surprised him, that seems totally strange to him. This was hardly what I intended. What I meant, of course, was that I should boss the job and that Harris and George should about under my direction. I pushing them aside every now and then with, oh you, here let me do it, there you are, simple enough, really teaching them. As you might see, they taking it in the way they did irritated me. There is nothing does irritate me more than seeing other people sitting about doing nothing when I am working. So here the author says that this was not what he has intended, what he wants to say to George and Harris. He said he felt that he is expert at packing, and therefore he said to George and Harris he intended to say that as he is skilled, he is expert, and therefore he will be directing them, he will be teaching them to how to carry out packing. But they took it in another way. They thought that the author will be doing the whole packing himself, and therefore they left the whole business for the author, and they sat on the sofa as well as on the easy chair. Now he says that this is the thing which irritates him. Now what irritates him? That he says that while he is working and at the same time other people are sitting around him doing nothing, sitting idle. So this scene, this feeling gives him a sort of irritation. He is annoyed to see people sitting around him while he is working. So his intention was to direct them, his intention was to teach them, his intention was to boss the job. It means that he would be supervising, he would be directing them and asking them how to carry out packing, but they left the whole business for the author himself. I lived with a man once who used to make me mad that way. He would loll on sofa and watch me doing things by the hour together. So here the author says that once he used to live with a person, and even that man used to irritate him in the similar way as George and Harris is doing right now. What he used to do, he used to loll on sofa. It means he used to relax and recline on sofa. He used to lie on sofa without helping the author with any work, while at the same time the author was working continuously, but that man, he did not even once step to help the author. He said it did him real good to look on at me messing about. Now I am not like that. And he says that it's not his nature to lie idle, to sit still without doing anything. So he says that whenever he sees anyone working or doing something, he actively participate in it, he help the person, and he can't sit still doing nothing. I cannot sit still, see another man slaving and working. I want to get up and superintend and walk around with my hands in my pockets and tell him what to do. It is my energetic nature, I cannot help it. So here he says that it's his nature, that he can't see people slaving. Slaving, it means doing rigorous work, doing hard labor, and while at the same time he is sitting idle. This is not his nature. So whenever he see any person working, he directly or indirectly indulge, or he extend his help, he try his best to help that person with his work. Or sometimes he superintend, it means supervise the work, or help the person in any way, whatever possible way he thinks was good for the assistance of the person who is working around him. However, I did not say anything, but started the packing. It seemed a longer job than I had thought it was going to be, but I had got the bag finished at last, and I sat on it and strapped it. So now the author, he says that without saying anything, he felt bad, he felt irritated, but without saying a single word, he started packing, and at last he finished it. He zipped the bag, he closed the bag, and he sat on it. "And you going to put the boots in?" said Harris. And I looked round and found I had forgotten them. That's just like Harris. He could not have said a word until I had got the bag shut and strapped, of course. And George laughed, one of those irritating, senseless laughs of his. They do make me so wild. Here, make me so wild, it means it make him angry. So now here it is being said that as soon as he closed the bag, he zipped the bag and he thought that he has completed packing, that very moment Harris pointed out the boot which was supposed to be packed, but it was unpacked, it was lying there only. So he asked the author Jerome, that whether he is going to pack that boot or not. So once again, when he pointed it out, he felt irritated. The author felt irritated. Why he felt irritated? Because now he had strapped the bag, he has zipped the bag, he has closed the bag, until the moment when the bag was not packed, was not zipped. He did not pointed it, he did not reminded the author about it, but as soon as he has closed it, Harris pointed it out, and this is what irritated the author. And at the same moment, George was laughing. I opened the bag and packed the boots in, and then just as I was going to close it, a horrible idea occurred to me. Had I packed my toothbrush? I don't know how it is, but I never do know whether I have packed my toothbrush. So now again he opened the bag, he kept boots in it, and as soon as he has closed the bag, he get reminded a horrible idea, a terrifying idea came to his mind, that whether he has packed his toothbrush or not. And here he says that whenever he is planning for a trip, whenever he is packing his belongings, he is often confused about his toothbrush, that whether he has packed it or not. My toothbrush is things that haunts me when I am traveling and makes my life misery. He says that toothbrush is the thing which makes his life misery, and the idea that whether he has packed the toothbrush or not comes continuously, repeatedly in his mind. I dream that I haven't packed it and wake up in cold perspiration and get out of bed and hunt for it. And in the morning I pack it before I have used it and have to unpack again to get it. And it is always the last thing I turn out of the bag, and then I repack and forget it. And have to rush upstairs for it the last moment and carry it to railway station wrapped up in my pocket handkerchief. So he says that whenever he is traveling, he used to get a dream that whether he has packed his toothbrush or not. So he used to dream that he has forgotten to pack his toothbrush, and he used to wake up in cold perspiration. It means he used to sweat. So the idea that the toothbrush has not been packed gave him a sweat, and it comes in his dream. This is what he says, and he says that he is very conscious about his toothbrush, and therefore he used to remind himself time and again, but even then he used to forget it. So as soon as he is haunted by a dream that he has not packed his toothbrush, he used to get up, he used to check it, and then again he used to pack it up, and then again he used to, after using it in the morning, he used to forget to pack it again. So he says that every time whenever he is going on a trip, he is traveling, every time this is what it happens with him, that he forgets to pack his toothbrush, and at the last moment when he was about to close the door, when he was about to leave for the railway station, he is reminded about his toothbrush and he has to run into his house to get toothbrush. So as the bag used to be totally packed, and therefore he used to wrap it into his pocket handkerchief and he used to carry it with himself. Of course, I had to turn every mortal thing out now, and of course I could not find it. It rummaged the thing up into much the same state as they must have been before the world was created, when chaos reigned. Of course I found George and Harris 18 times over, but I could not find my own. I put things back one by one and held everything up and shook it. Then I found it inside a boot. I repacked once more. So now he says that what he did here, mortal thing, it means everything, every ordinary thing, whatever was there in the bag. Now the idea came to his mind that whether he has packed his toothbrush or not, and therefore what he started doing, he started taking out each and everything whatever was packed in the bag, but he did not find anything. And he did not find his toothbrush. And while he was looking for his own toothbrush, he says that he found George and Harry's toothbrush 18 times, but he could not find his own toothbrush. So now he says that at end, here you can see in the picture that everything was outside the bag. It was in a topsy and turvy condition. It was scattered all around, but he was not able to find his bag. And then now what he did, he started taking everything one by one, and he was shaking it, and finally he found it. The brush fell from one of the boot. And then as he is assured now that yes, it is there. Then what he did, as he has found his toothbrush, he repacked the bag once more. When I had finished, George asked if the soap was in. I said I did not care a hang whether the soap was in or whether it was not, and I slammed the bag shut and strapped it. And I found that I had packed my spectacles in it and had to reopen it. It got shut up finally at 10:05 p.m. and then there remained the hampers to do. Harry said that we should be wanting to start in less than 12 hours times, and thought that he and George had better to do the rest, and I agreed and sat down, and they had a go. So now here it is said that once again when he has repacked the bag, then he was asked a question by George that whether he has packed the soap in the bag or not. So again he is not sure that whether he has packed it or not, and then he says that he doesn't bother about it, that whether he has packed the soap or not. He does not care about it, and finally he shut the bag, he zipped it, he closed it. And then as soon as he has closed the bag, he again gets reminded that he has packed his spectacles in the bag. And then again he has to reopen it, and finally the packing was done at 10:05 p.m. Then what was left? That was hamper was left. What is hamper? Hamper is the basket in which the eatables is being carried. So now they have to pack eatables. Then what happened? Harry said that now only 12 hours is left, and therefore they will have to hurry up. And then Harry said to the author that he as well as George will do the hamper now. It means they are going to pack the hamper. So now the author, he agreed to his suggestion, and he sat down while both of them, George and Harry, started packing the hamper. So now till here we can see that the author, Jerome, in the very starting line of this story, he said that he was very skilled and expert at packing. But we can see that till now he has reopened the bag thrice. In the first thing, he has forgotten the boot. Secondly, what he did not remember about his toothbrush. Third time, he did not remember, he has packed his spectacles inside it. And fourth thing, which shows that even he was not good at packing, that is, he don't even remember that whether he has packed the soap in the bag or not. So it shows that even he was not even expert, and he is exaggerating the matter. They began in light-hearted spirit, evidently intending to show me how to do it. I made no comment. I only waited. With the exception of George, Harris is the worst packer in this world. and I looked at the piles of plates and cups and kettles and bottles and jars and pies and stoves and cakes and tomatoes, etc., and felt that the thing would soon be exciting. So now he says that George and Harris started packing the hamper, and they started in a light-hearted manner, and they were trying to show to the author that they were good at packing than the author. So now he says that he says about Harris that he is the worst packer in the world, and then he looked upon the things which was to be packed, and all the things which was to be packed in the hamper was cookery as well as the eatable things. So definitely plates and cups, kettles and bottles, jars was there, which are the things which can be broken and which need a proper care and attention for packing. And after that they had got eatables, that is pies, cakes, tomatoes and etc. And therefore he says that it is going to be exciting because it may be that things will be broken, cups and bottles will be broken, and cakes and tomatoes, they are delicate things, and therefore they need again proper care for packing. It did. They started with breaking a cup. That was the first thing they did. They did just to show you what they could do and to get you interested. Then Harris packed the strawberry jam on the top of tomato and squashed it. And they had to pick out the tomato with a teaspoon. So now it shows that how Harris and George were good at packing. So first they started the packing, and what they did in the very starting, they broke a cup, and after that what Harris did, he placed the strawberry jam over the tomato, and as a result the tomato was crushed in the bag only, in the hamper only, and then it was taken out with the help of teaspoon. And then it was George's turn, and he trod on the butter. I did not say anything, but I came over and sat on the edge of the table and watched them. It irritated them more than anything I could have said. I felt that it made them nervous and excited, and they stepped on things and put things behind them, and then could not find them when they wanted them, and they packed the pies at the bottom and put heavy things on the top and smashed the pies in it. So now here it is being said that now it was George's turn to pack the hamper. In the previous paragraph we have already seen what Harris has done. He has broken a cup and he has placed the jam bottle on the tomato, and as a result it was crushed, and it was at last taken out with the help of a spoon. And now George, what he has done, he has trodden on butter. It means he has stepped on butter. Here you can see in the image that he has kept his leg by mistake on the butter. And at the same time, while George and Harris, they were packing the hamper, the author was sitting on the edge of the table, and he says that while he was sitting and watching them, it made them feel irritated. And what next George did? He placed pies at the bottom and he put heavy things on the top, and as a result now pies was smashed. Now what is pies? It's a bakery item. It's a like a pastry, so it's quite soft. It should be placed on the top, but what George did, he placed it at the bottom and he placed the heavy things over it, and as a result even pies was smashed. And one more thing is being said over here, that what they did, they used to step on things. It means they used to take things in their hand and they used to put behind them, and when it was wanted for packing, they was not able to find it. They were not able to relocate it. It means they used to keep it behind them, and after that they used to forget it while it was needed for the packing. They upset salt over everything, and as for the butter. I never saw two men do more with 1 and 2 pence worth of butter in my whole life than they did. After George had got it off his sleeper, they tried to put it in the kettle. It would not go in, and what was in could not come out. They did scrape it out at last and put it down on a chair, and Harry sat on it, and it stuck to him, and they went looking for it all over the room. So now it is being said, the another thing what they did, that is they upset the salt. Upset, it means they overturned the jar of salt, and as a result now salt was spreaded, now salt was scattered on everything. And he says that they were struggling with the butter which was stuck in the in the sleeper of George, and now they were trying to put that butter into the kettle, but they were not able to do it, and at last they scrap out the butter from the leg of George, and then they kept it on a chair. And after that, what happened? Another humorous effect that is being given over here, another humorous incident, that is when George kept butter on the chair, Harry sat on that chair. He has forgotten that there is butter on the chair, and he sat over it, and after that, that butter stuck to his back. And now when butter was required for packing, they were looking for it throughout the room. They were searching for it, while they were not able to find it. I will take my oath, I put it down on that chair, said George, staring at the empty seat. I saw you do it myself not a minute ago, said Harris. Then they started round the room again looking for it, and then they met again in the center and stared at one another. So now they are looking for the butter which was scraped out from the leg, and it was kept on the chair, and which is stuck at the back of Harris. And now both George and Harris, they are looking for that butter, but they are not able to locate it, they are not able to find it, and both of them are looking for butter throughout the room. And both of them, they are surprised at where the butter has gone, as George remembered that he has kept it on the chair only, and even Harry says that even he has seen him keeping butter on the chair. Most extraordinary thing I ever heard of, said George. So mysterious, said Harris. Then George got round at the back of Harris and saw it. Why, here it is all the time, he exclaimed indigently. Where? Cried Harris, spinning around. Stand still, can't you? Roared George, flying after him, and they got it off and packed it in the teapot. So now, as they were surprised, they were not able to find butter, and they remembered very well that they had kept it on the chair only, and therefore they were looking for it, surprisingly. And then at once what happened? George went back. Then what happened? Harris moved back, and then George was able to see that it was there stuck on the back of Harris. So he shouted, he exclaimed indigently, it means angrily. He was annoyed because he was looking for it for a long time, and therefore he shouted angrily at Harris, and he asked him to stand still. And then what he did, he took the butter which was there stuck on the back of Harris, and then again he packed it in the teapot. Montmorency was in it all, of course. Montmorency's ambition in life is to get in the way and be sworn at. So here we are introduced to another character of this story, another interesting character, that is Montmorency. Montmorency is the dog, and here the author says that Montmorency can't keep himself away from all these things. It's his routine to get scolded. It's his ambition of life to get into the way. It means to disturb, to enter each and every place to poke nose, and to get scolded. Be sworn at, it means to get scolded. If he can scream in anywhere where he particularly is not wanted, and be get scolded perfect nuisance and make people mad and have things thrown at his head, then he feels his days has not been wasted. So he says, the author says that Montmorency, he always, particularly, he enters the place wherever he is not required, wherever he is not wanted. So he used to scream, it means he used to twist his body and he used to get into the place where he is not wanted, and he gets into that place, he created disturbance, and till the moment he has not irritated the people and he has not been beaten and scolded by the people, he doesn't feel that his days has been of any use. So when he is scolded, when he is beaten up, then he feels that his days has not been wasted, and then he feel better. To get somebody to stumble over him and curse him steadily for an hour is his highest aim and object. And when he has succeeded in accomplishing this, his conceit becomes quite unbearable. So another ambition of his life, another aim of his life is being given over here in this paragraph, that here it is said that his another ambition is to stumble over. Stumble, it means that whenever you are running or walking and suddenly some hurdles comes in a way, unbalancing the person, that is a stumble. So his another ambition is to get into the way of any person and unbalancing, causing hindrance to the person, and after that he is getting scolded, and that scolding gives him a pleasure, and when he is being scolded, that provides him a great satisfaction and happiness. Now here the word conceit has been used, that it means his pride in himself. So when he is being scolded, he is being beaten up, once he feels that he has accomplished his aim, he feels very proud of himself. He came and sat down on things just when they were wanted to be packed, and he labored under the fixed belief that whenever Harris or George reached out their hand for anything, it was his cold, damp nose that they wanted. So now it is being said that he used to sit on the things which were wanted to be packed, and whenever Harris and George, they extended their hand to get things which were supposed to be packed in the bag, as soon as they extend their hand, the dog used to extend his nose to their hand as if they wanted their nose to be packed in the bag. He put his leg into the jam and worried the teaspoons, and he pretended that the lemons were rats and get into the hamper and killed 3 of them before Harris could land him with the frying pan. So the dog is quite mischievous. Another mischievous activity of the dog is being mentioned over here, that what he used to do, he placed his leg into the jam, in the bottle of jam, in the jar of jam, and after that he was worrying the teaspoon, it means he was disturbing the teaspoon, he was moving it, and as a result different sounds was being made by that teaspoon. And finally what he did, he pretended, it means he was well aware about it, but he was trying to show, he was being ignorant. So what he did, he treated lemon, he thought lemon as a rat, and in order to kill that rat, what he did, he jumped into the hamper and he killed 3 of them. It means he destroyed 3 lemons. And finally Harris, he could not control his anger, he was too much irritated by the dog, and finally he beat up the dog with the frying pan which was there in his hand. Harris said, I encouraged him, I did not encourage him. A dog like that does not want any encouragement. It's the natural, original scene that is born in him that makes him do things like that. The packing was done at 12:50 and Harry sat on the big hamper and said he hoped nothing would be found broken. George said that if anything was broken, it was broken, which reflection seemed to comfort him. He also said he was ready for bed. We were all ready for bed. Harris was to sleep with us that night and we went upstairs. So finally, the Harris was totally irritated by that dog, and the author, who was sitting idle there on the edge of the table, Harris said to the author that he was encouraging the dog to disturb them, but he says that it is not what he is doing. He says that it is his natural instinct. He says that dog is born with that natural instinct. It is his inborn ability and quality, and that is what he is showing. And finally, it is being said that the packing was done at 12:50, and after packing that hamper, what Harris did, he sat on that hamper only, and as we have seen in the previous paragraph, we have got the list of things which was supposed to be packed in the hamper, and all the items was either breakable or there was eatable item. So after packing it, he sat over it. So definitely a number of utensils, a number of cookery and number of eatables item definitely would have destroyed which was there in the hamper. And George, he said that he don't bother whether the things is broken or not, whether it is in good condition or whether it is broken. And after that, George said that he want to go to bed, he want to sleep now, and so all of them went upstairs to sleep. We tossed our bed. Harris had to sleep with me. He said, "Do you prefer the inside or the outside, Jay?" I said I generally prefer to sleep inside a bed. Harris said it was odd. George said, "What time shall I wake you, fellows?" Harris said 7. I said no, 6, because I wanted to write some letters. Harris and I had a bit of row over it, but at last split the difference and said 6:30. Wake us at 6:30, George, we said. So finally, the three friends, Jerome, George and Harris, they went upstairs, and Harris was to sleep with Jerome, with the author, and therefore Harris asked him that where he want to sleep, inside the bed or outside. Inside it means the inner area, and outside it means toward the edge. So the author replied that he preferred inside, and after that George asked to Harris as well as to Jerome that at what time he will wake them up. So there was a discussion between Harris and Jerome. Harris said that he want to wake up at 7 o'clock, but the author Jerome, he said that he want to get up at 6 o'clock, and therefore in order to split up the difference, in order to settle the issue, it was decided that they will wake up at 6:30. So the 6:30 time was fixed, that they are going to get up at 6:30. So once the issue was settled, Jerome and Harris asked wake them at 6:30. George made no answer, and we found on going over that he had been asleep for some time. So we placed the bath where he could tumble into it on getting out in the morning, and went to bed ourselves. So now here it is being said that till the time they were deciding, Jerome and Harris, they were deciding that at what time they have to get up. During that time, George has already gone to sleep, he has fallen asleep, and when they had decided that they will get up at 6:30 and they went to inform it to George, they found that he was already asleep, and therefore what they did, they placed the bathtub, it means a tub full of water, near his bed, so that when he will get up in the morning, he will tumble, he will fall into that bathtub. And after that they went into their bed to sleep. This is all about this story. Thank you.